Hi, everybody, from Kinnick Stadium at Iowa City on the University of Iowa campus. Iowa's Hawkeyes hosting the Wildcats of Kansas State. Gene Clausen here with Mike Seelig. And Mike, I guess the #1 story this week going into this game, Hayden has named his #1 quarterback, none other than Chuck Hartley.
Well, Chuck certainly deserves it right now, Gene. He's throwing over 70% completion. His scoring drive percentage is very high. Not to take anything away from the other two quarterbacks, who are both very competitive and very talented quarterbacks. It just turns out that right now the figures all point to Chuck, and I think he's going to be difficult to take that position away from. He's a very good competitor, and if he continues the percentages that he's throwing and the touchdown ratio, I think he'll be our starting quarterback for a while.
And, of course, the #1 offensive threat for Kansas State, their fine running back.
Well, Tony Jordan is an excellent running back. Last year, ran for 738 yards, about a 3.7 yard per carry average, 6'3", 220. Just an excellent offensive threat. Unfortunately for Tony, they don't have a lot of other threats in the offense, which to this point so far this season anyway, he's in a position where he has to carry the load.
Okay, the Hawkeyes' final non-conference game of the season next week. It's Michigan State. We'll have the action in this one in just a moment. George Murphy will be kicking off for the Hawkeyes. Austin back at the goal line along with Lewis. For the Wildcats of Kansas State, Stan Parrish, their coach, in his second year. Murphy, the barefooted kicker, he sends it high, and it's taken in the end zone, and it's going to be run out. A bad decision that time for Mark Austin. He was just inside the end zone, decided to run it out, got back just to the 7-yard line.
Gene, I'm not sure that I'm pretty sure it bothered him that time. He was a little bit indecisive as to whether he should have brought it out of the end zone or not, but chose to, and probably was a mistake.
Quarterback is Gary Swim. 2 years at Snow Junior College in Utah. He's a Utah native from Vernal. His stats, 25 of 43 completions for 286 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. They run out of the pro set. And they start throwing. Incomplete. Jordan, the intended receiver. Tony Jordan, the tailback. He has to be their #1 offensive threat. He could play, I think, Mike, for anybody.
He's a very, very good running back, and I think he's the major threat today, and they're going to get the ball to him as much as possible.
Jordan, 6'3", a 220-pounder, 3 Letterman. He's a senior. His stats for last year, he ran the ball 204 times for 738 yards. His average this year on 29 carries, 4+. And Jordan gets his first carry trying the right side of Iowa's defensive line, which has Myron Kepi in at left tackle. The opposite tackle, Joe Schuster. The defensive ends, Mike Burke and Joe Mott. The All-American candidate, Dave Haight, at middle guard. And the linebackers, Quast is back in uniform. And we'll double check, I think, after missing a couple of games. No, it's J.J. Puck in there with Dan Worth. It's a 3rd and about 4 for Kansas State. The drop back and the completion of the 21-yard line, hitting Eric Blades, and Puck made the tackle for the Hawkeyes. So they're putting the ball in the air. They're going against the wind. I think we can expect Gary Swim, Mike, to just set up with a short drop and try to hit the quick receiver.
Well, I'm sure they're going to try to loosen things up and open things up for themselves, so it gives Jordan a little more room to run.
So it's a 1st and 10, Kansas State on the Iowa 21-yard line. And off to Lewis, the fullback this time, and he was hit by J.J. Puck. Puck, not a big guy for a linebacker, but big enough, very tough at 6'3", 212 pounds. He's fought off injuries, as we've noted before, a senior and a co-captain. A 5-yard advance up to the 25. I know, Mike, that Hayden, one of the worries of a coach when you're 42-point favorites, you're worried about the guys hearing about that big advantage, according to the odds makers, and maybe they might not be set, but we'll wait and see as the game progresses. Again, it's right up the middle by Jordan, and Kepi again in on the stop.
Well, Gene, there's coaches are always concerned when you play a team like Kansas State and you have the stronger team on your side. I'm sure, though, that Hayden and the staff have done everything they can to prepare the team to be mentally ready and right at the start of the game. It's unfortunate after that kickoff where we stopped them really down inside the 10 that they did get the first down, but they're coming back right now.
One of their top receivers, John Williams injured and is not playing this ball game as the handoff again goes to Lewis. So Lawrence Tolbert has replaced him in the starting lineup. Dave Haight, Joe Schuster in on that stop for the Hawkeyes. And it's another first down, Kansas State. Kansas State has opened with losses to Austin Peay, 26-22, and to Army, 41-14. Of course, the Hawkeyes are 2-1 after the disappointing opening loss out at Tennessee. Victories over Arizona and a solid win last week over Iowa State.
So far, they've really concentrated on the middle of our defense, Gene. I don't know if they'll eventually come to the flanks, but so far it's been in the center of the field.
And they remain in the pro set. Set up again with a short drop, and it's complete to Jordan. And he advances it to the 36-yard line where Kerry Burt making the tackle. We noticed when we were down on the field earlier that Kerry had a pad on his wrist. Don't know whether, obviously, it's not a serious injury, just to maybe protect a bruise or a cut.
Hayden mentioned earlier in the week that Kerry doesn't practice every day, really, in terms of full-go practices, but he's on the field every Saturday, and that's what counts.
Cowings now in as a wide receiver, and they have slots now deep to the left side, the open side of the field. Hawks defense basically is a 52. And the completion again to Jordan. And Greg Brown starting the season as the number 3 left corner. Starting what now, his 3rd game.
And you got to give Greg a lot of credit because he was very young this season when it started, and now he's become somewhat of a veteran in the defensive backfield. He got there because of injuries, but now he's doing a very good job. He's played Tony Jordan that time, and Jordan has great speed, and Greg just did a good job of covering him.
Steve Thomas now on that Iowa defensive line with a 3rd and about 3. The fake handoff and the pass complete to the fullback, Lewis. A flag down on the play. The officiating crew, by the way, from the Big Ten, Gil Marshman is the referee. And I wonder how Mr. Rulin is feeling after that hit he took from Tony Stewart last week. Face mask is the call against the Hawkeyes.
Preliminary signal, face mask against Iowa.
See the quarterback sprinting out to the right. I think the penalty here is really not intentional at all. Mike Burke, I believe, comes and just accidentally grabs the face mask as he's falling to the ground. Then you see Greg Brown coming up and making a hit on the receiver. But it was a very accidental face mask.
So after that penalty, Kansas State, they move from their 7. They're up to near midfield at the Iowa 48, 1st and 10. And there's the flea flicker. They want to go deep, and they're going way too deep. The flip back to the quarterback and the intended receiver, Lawrence Tolbert. Well covered. And it was badly overthrown. Sistrunk was back to cover.
Well, it didn't fool the Hawk defensive backs at all. They read the play perfectly when the ball carrier pitched the ball back to the quarterback. They were in position with the receiver, and I think that they tried to fool us, but they couldn't do it. This defensive backfield has really done a great job this season, and they have to be complimented.
And the right guard in that offensive line for Kansas State, an Iowan, Matt Garver of Florida. And again, they go up the middle. Lewis, the fullback, picking up yardage inside the Iowa 50. Lewis, by the way, started out as a fullback. They played him at nose guard last year, and he must have said, hey, I want to carry the ball, because he's back at the fullback position.
You know, I just noticed Dave Haight down in the huddle waving his hands, saying, let's get going. You see the stats on Lewis there, and the defense has to shore up that middle just a little bit right now, and Dave Haight's doing his job as one of the leaders, trying to get them fired up.
Timeout of the field by Kansas State. Hawkeye football continues after these local messages on the Hawkeye Sports Network. So Stan Parrish has put together a pretty good-looking offense so far. It's a 3rd and 6 for the Wildcats inside the Iowa 50 at the 48-yard line. Parrish coached at Purdue, coached the quarterbacks for 2 years. Nice rollout by Snow. And the completion inside the Iowa 40 to Tolbert. Snow stats so far, he now is 5 of 7. Or excuse me, correct. Merton Hanks making the tackle. Snow not a running quarterback, but a very versatile QB. And I'll tell you, Mike, he's had time to throw that football.
Well, as you see in the replay there, he did an excellent job throwing the ball over Kerry Burt right into the receiver's hands and right in front of our defensive back.
An impressive drive starting on the Kansas State 7. Now, there was nothing that time for Lewis trying the middle. And it was Kepi, Puck, and Haight. Take your pick. They were all in on the stop for the Hawkeyes.
Kerry Burt, too, Gene, and that was nice to see. They've been opening pretty good holes in our defense, and I think they just made a slight adjustment there, trying to stop the run up the middle, because so far that's been a real threat to us.
I'm sure Parrish would like to see ball control because he obviously is outmanned. He said this week that he didn't have a single player who could start for Iowa. Well, that may be a little bit to get his team hyped up, but they've been impressive in this drive. And there's the ball popped loose. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Joe Mott. Ball popped loose on a hit into Gary Swim, the quarterback, and the Hawkeyes forcing the turnover. And it was Joe Schuster, I guess, who's going to get credit. And it's up to the Iowa 45-yard line. The first break forced by the Iowa defense.
I think Joe Schuster knocked the ball loose. See the quarterback, he's getting a lot of heat. And right there, Schuster's left hand hit the ball. Joe Mott just waiting for it, and catches the ball, decides which way he's going to run, and goes the right way.
Nice over-the-shoulder catch that time by Joe Mott.
Very good job by the Iowa defense.
So it'll be Chuck Hartley starting for the Hawkeyes. Harmon and Hudson are in I-backs, and it's a tight formation as the Hawkeyes have the football for their first offensive series at the 45. A loose ball. Fumbled, but recovered by the Hawkeyes. Hartley that time, I don't know whether he mishandled the snap. McDonald that time, one of the defenders on the play, and the Hawkeyes lose yardage back to the Iowa 37-yard line.
I think it was just a communication problem there between the quarterback and the center. They just didn't have the snap just right.
Iowa's wide receivers, Mark Mazzari and Quinn Early. Harmon and Hudson, the running backs. Marv Cook, again, the starter at tight end. Clark is now in. Cook, Clark, and Flag. The Hawkeyes now go with two tight ends. Hartley wanting to go long. The receiver fell down, and it's intercepted. This may go for 6. The coverage by Hartley on the play, and they knock down Marcus Miller. Early also recovering. And so, turnabout by Kansas State. And that's the first Iowa interception of this season.
Well, it's real unfortunate for Chuck. I don't know if they'll see it here, but the receiver fell down and then got back up, and that's always dangerous. I don't know if Chuck saw that, but Early did everything he could to come back and catch the ball, but it was a good defensive effort. And you'll see on the tackle, see the defensive back coming in right in front of the receiver.
So Kansas State now with the ball just inside the Iowa 15-yard line. And they're in a tight formation, just a single wideout. Jordan gets the pitch, and they hit him hard right on the line of scrimmage. J.J. Puck coming up along with Foster. Foster, the other linebacking position, and maybe a half yard, and that's about it. I tell you, now is where the going gets tough, inside the 20.
Well, this is the type of situation, Sheen, if you're not ready to play a game, you certainly get ready in a hurry here, because they have great field position, and it's important for our defense here just to play tough and keep them from scoring.
Second series now for K-State. No score. We're in the first quarter. Second and about 9 yards. The pass is overthrown. Nice coverage over on the left corner by Greg Brown. They tested Greg last week at Iowa State. Did a good job.
Well, he's really learned a lot, as we spoke about earlier, and that time he played it very well. Kerry Burt also was on a blitz that time, came in and put good pressure on the quarterback.
Well, the offensive line for Kansas State so far has pretty much given Gary Swim a chance to set up high the secondary and get the ball away. Third now, and call it a long 8, just inside the Iowa 15 for the Wildcats. And off to Jordan. There's a hole. Look out, he's inside the 5-yard line. Again, good blocking up front by Kansas State. There was a hole for Jordan. And I see no flags, Mike. This should be now a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line.
The official did just indicate the first down, and that was a great play by Kansas State. They had a large hole for Jordan to run through, and he knows how to do it when the hole's there.
The guards, Bellin and Garver, the center, Iniguez for Kansas State, and Stang and McCain, the tackles. Give them credit. They're doing a good job. Dig in, Hawks. The rollout The short pass, 6 points. Jordan took it right at the goal line and stepped in, and Kansas State stunning the Hawkeyes here. The 2 drives went from the Kansas State 7. And let's check out now the scoring pass by Gary Swim.
Gene does a nice job of reading it. He stretches it out just a little bit. Jordan makes a nice catch and has just enough room to get by Brown in the end zone.
Jordan coming into the ball game with 7 receptions, one of their leading receivers. And now the try for the extra point. The snap and the ball is in the air, and Mark Porter's kick is good. So here in the first quarter, Iowa trails 7-0. And we'll be back with more first quarter action after this. A well-executed drive. Kansas State being thwarted at midfield in the Iowa interception. They get the ball back with an interception of their own. And it's the quarterback Swim to the running back Jordan from inside the 5, and it's 7-0 with 7:45 to go. Back at the 10-yard line to receive for the Hawkeyes, Kevin Harmon and Quinn Early. They're at the 10. The kick will be into the wind by Porter. Their punter, by the way, Ken Olson, has been their starting punter and quit the squad this week. They're using the number 2 in punting situations today. The K-State kickoff, it's a squib. Picked up at the 25. Gets beyond the 40, stopped at about the 43-yard line. Brad Goodman, the veteran from Des Moines. Hawkeyes will start out with Chuck Hartley, Harmon and Hudson, the running backs. Probably will have Early and Mazzari at flanker. Marv Cook at tight end. The stats for Harmon: 5+ on 55 carries. Hudson 5.7 on 20. And Hartley 29 of 40 for 72%. Here we go. Hawks from the 42. Harmon, just a simple sweep to the left. Advance the ball up to the 47-yard line, where Brad Lambert, the right corner, made the tackle. Marcus Miller made the interception at the other corner. Robert Eastwood at free safety, and Eric Harford at strong safety. In that last scoring drive, 4 plays for 15 yards for K-State. Hawkeyes after that penalty now with a 1st and 20. The ball at the Iowa 34-yard line. Hawkeyes change formations. Now it's the single setback. And they hand off to Hudson at right tackle. Takes 3, 4, 5 white shirts to bring him down. David from Waxahachie. When they recruited Hudson, Hayden said, "I always wanted a player from Waxahachie."
Well, he got a player, Gene, and that time he did a good job. There was a little crossing action in the backfield. Bob Cratch threw a real nice block to get him open, too.
Hudson, of course, injured a year ago on the last non-conference game against UTEP. That really hurt the Hawkeyes going into Big Ten play. And next week, of course, Michigan State here will have the action on that one. Hartley can't get the ball away. He's dropped back at the 20-yard line. Bazile, the outside linebacker, dropping him way back at the 20-yard line. Obviously, wanted to go long. Sacked.
Well, Hartley's trying to see something downfield, gets hit from the blind side, then he tries to make something of it, but decides not to throw the ball, which is probably a good decision, because bad things can happen then. So, a bad loss, but a good decision by Chuck Hartley.
So now it's way back to the 25-yard line. 3rd down coming up, and let's call it 25 yards. Iowa does have the wind in this, the first quarter, with 6:20 to go. But the Hawks trail 7-0. 2 wide receivers and 2 setbacks. Now one is slotted to the left. Flag down. The Hawkeyes may have used up the 25-second clock. That's it. Hawkeyes penalized back to the 20. It is now 3rd and 32. Hartley with good protection. And it has caught a nice catch at the 45-yard line of Iowa, and out of bounds in Kansas State territory at the 45-yard line. Lambert making the tackle, and Harmon making the reception.
Well, it's a nice combination pattern. You'll see Chuck dropping back to throw the ball, and when he releases it, 2 receivers downfield. You see, well, you won't
nice
see.
over-the-shoulder catch.
Very nice over-the-shoulder catch by Kevin Harmon.
So the Hawkeyes make up the deficit. They have 4th down coming up, and we'll have a measurement. Hawkeyes just enough for the first down at the Kansas State 48-yard line. That was Harmon's 7th reception of the year. And again, it's the Harmon. He's loose. A nice fake. He took a 30, a stiff arm, and he's down inside the 20-yard line. Harmon almost stiff-armed his way to the goal line. Inside the 20, and the Hawkeyes have a first down at the 18-yard line. Vintage Kevin Harmon.
Well, it's so much fun to watch him run. He gets a nice hole. You see him break back to his left, then to his right, as the Harmons do. But then it's just all him once he gets in the backfield. He tries to get to the goal line. See him, his jersey's being pulled. Good defensive play, but a great run by Kevin Harmon.
So the Hawkeyes now in 2 plays. They've gone down from the 20. Now they're inside the enemy 20 at about the 18-yard line. Harmon again, the juke left, the juke right, inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. And that offensive line opening the holes. Iowa with Cratch, Wester, Alexander. There you can see Kevin's stats, 55 rushes for 286 yards and a 5+ average. And I tell you, he's the kind of a guy, once he gets inside the 20, he can smell at 6 points.
Well, he just loves to run the football, and he does a good job of it.
Iowa just inside the 10. There's the fake to the fullback and knocked off his feet at the line of scrimmage. Kevin could find nothing at left tackle. And one of the linebackers, and Eric Harper, coming in for the tackle. So we have a 3rd and short coming up. And with the play, Craig Clark. Clark will be the one guy among those 3 who will be coming back next week, the tight end. 2 wideouts, Quinn Early and Mark Mazzari. High back formation. Kevin that time. It's a straight power play to get the first down in the area, the 5-yard line.
Gene, that time they used him almost as a fullback. He knew he just needed short yardage. He didn't want to do anything fancy. He just got the first down for us.
David Wallace of Bettendorf, one of the 2 Iowans in the starting unit. 6'1", a 225-pound senior, and he's credited with more tackles than any other Wildcat. 38 for the season. First and goal, Hawks. Crowd came to life with that long pass to Kevin Harmon. And here's the big guy, David Hudson. Oh, Mr. Reliable. He's the exterminator, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a strong fullback, and he just did a good job, and good job up front by the line also. You see the fake, they'll fake a wide pitch out to Harmon and give it back to Hudson. He just gets in the end zone on his own there.
Matt Wallerstedt, the inside linebacker, had a hand on him, but he couldn't hold down the big 235-pound David Hudson of Waxahachie. Outland in for the PAT. Hartley holding. Right up through the uprights, and we are tied at 7. 3:46 remaining, first quarter, and it's Iowa, Kansas State, each at 7. You're watching Iowa football on the Hawkeye Sports Network. We move to further action now in the first quarter. Again, the power eye set. Hudson, Bass, and Harmon. This time it's Harmon, or rather Hudson in motion. And a dive over right guard by Kevin. He did a swan that time into the end zone for the touchdown. Airborne. And not everybody can do that.
Not everybody should, Gene.
Or want to.
He really gets up in the air here and actually does almost a complete flip by the time he gets down to the ground. Gets the ball deep and sees Bass blocking ahead of him. He sees the opening, makes his jump right there. You see his feet go on over. It's a dangerous move, but it's great to get the touchdown.
Outland, who could wind up the season as Iowa's leading scorer of all time. Mr. Automatic, and the Hawkeyes lead 14-7 with 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
See from another angle right here, you'll see it from the defensive standpoint. Kevin comes right into the air there, makes his flip, and gets in the end zone. Another 6 points for the Hawks.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score Iowa 14, Kansas State 7, and we'll be right back after this. Porter at the 12-yard line for K-State. Marciano at the Iowa 40-yard line. Porter with the wind. High kick. Marciano at the 35. Scoots past a couple, looking for an open lane. Midfield by Peter Marciano. Just inside the 50.
There's an example where a lot of guys would have fair caught the ball, but Peter decided to catch it and try to return it, and he did a good job. Got about 12 to 15 yards on the return, where most people would have had 0 return.
The leading punt returner in the Big Ten last year, and he didn't do it by fair catching the football. Matter of fact, he's keeping his record intact. He's never called for a fair catch. Maybe they can't get his arm above the shoulder.
As long as he returns them like that, we'll just let him keep returning them, Gene.
So the ball is on the K-State 49. Hawkeyes leading. Opening moments of the second quarter, it's 14-7. Hartley, Harmon, stacked it up in the middle of the line. One of the linebackers, Grady Newton, ended dropping first. Maybe about a yard gain on that play as Flag brings in the call from the sidelines. This the last of the non-conference games for the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten competition next week here, hosting Michigan State. Of course, we'll have all the action. Hartley now 3 of 5, 1 intercept, 63 yards. Total for the Hawkeye quarterback. His average for the season about 72%. He's going deep, complete, down to the 12, broken tackle, down to the 15. Hang in there, Mark. Cook pounds down to the 11-yard line. Marv Cook.
Gene, Hartlib has 4 receivers to choose from here. He picks Marv Cook, and for a very good reason. He's wide open. You see the ball come over the defenders. But watch the power that Marv Cook shows right here. 1, 2, he just runs right through him. Then the third guy comes. Right there. It's just great power by a tight end that makes a great reception.
Well, he even hit Kevin that time. Cook now with his first reception of this ball game. He has 36 for the year. That's number 7. Will delay. Harmon trying to find something up the middle, and it's not there. Or rather, Hudson. The middle of that line, Joe Ohm, the nose guard, Matt Wallerstedt, David Wallace. Plugged it up that time, and even a guy as strong as David Hudson couldn't penetrate. We'll be back with more on the Hawkeye Sports Network after these local messages. Hawkeyes back up to the line of scrimmage. Stan Parrish wanted that timeout for his Kansas team. Here's Harmon weaving left and going back up the middle inside the 5-yard line. Parrish, I'm sure he would like to prevent this one from going in because you might see the seams coming apart if we score quickly here.
Well, up until this point, they've really done an excellent job of kind of hanging in with the Hawks. Started out with the lead. We came back, got the lead, hit by 2 touchdowns. But the third touchdown here will really put them at a disadvantage.
Ball is midfield right at the 3-yard marker. Bass goes in. Probably the setup and the power eye just to the right of Hudson with Harmon in the up back position. And it's Bass. Goes up high, or Hudson rather. They have it stacked up, but I don't think David got into the end zone. Hudson went airborne that time, right over the middle. It's Iowa's third 6-pointer. And for Hudson, his second touchdown. Harmon's earlier was number 6.
Well, you see David take off about from the 2-yard line and gets right in. He's got such power, even in the air. He gets his shoulders down, and he gets in the end zone in fine fashion.
Well, it's been an airborne duo. First Harmon, and then Hudson. Hartley is into hold with Howland trying his third PAT. It's good, and the Hawkeyes lead with 11:27 to go in the second quarter, 21-7. And we'll be back with more second quarter action after this. Hawks have scored twice now in the last 3.5 minutes. Richards and Austin. Deep to receive at the 5-yard line as George Murphy kicks off into the wind. That's a swift kick. Hawks trying for an onside, and they may have it at the 45-yard line. Swift kick to his left. And a big pileup at the Iowa 45-yard line. It may have been Mark Stoops. We'll wait till they unstack. There have to be about a half a dozen. The reaction from the Iowa players, Hanks for one, indicates the Hawkeyes did recover. Coming up from the bottom, the last guy up for Iowa, I don't know whether he gets credited, is Clark.
Well, this really caught him by surprise, Gene. The ball was kicked to the left, and all the Iowa Hawkeyes were right there. One of the Kansas State kickoff men booted the ball, and in the pile, one of the Iowa players received it.
Parrish, a moment ago, you could tell how disgusted he was on the sidelines to get burned after the Iowa touchdown. Here's a pass badly thrown and intercepted by Harper. Harper down the near sidelines is knocked out of bounds at the Iowa 30-yard line. Dave Alexander, Iowa starting right guard. I don't know whether that was deflected or not, Mike. We'll know here on the replay.
It looked like it might have been deflected. And it looked like it got over the defender there, but was underthrown. Quinn Early was open. The ball was slightly underthrown. Another interception for Kansas State.
Had that been on the money, it would have been 6 points Iowa. Harper making the interception. So, good field position for Kansas State as Snow sends one down the middle at the Iowa 20-yard line. And Kent Dean, the tight end, the receiver. Sean Ridley, Merton Hanks. Flag is down behind the line of scrimmage, and it's a holding call against Kansas State. Gil Marshman indicating holding Wildcats. Stan Parrish, the K-State coach, a little bit unhappy with the call and wanted to chat with sideline judge. You could tell from here that he was a little bit irate. And off going to the tailback, Jordan at right tackle gets to the 35-yard line. I'm certainly impressed with the overall offensive technique of this team. They're obviously outmanned, but they're a well-coached team, Mike.
Well, they got a good strategy. The line has done a very good job against our defensive line. We're bigger than they are. And as you say, the strategy so far has been very good. They're mixing up their passing. They're running very well.
They get Blades in now at wide receiver, and they slot Ian Tolbert to the right side. Pass down the middle, wide open, taking to the 25-yard line, Kent Dean. Hawkeyes playing loose. They're playing soft down here, and Dean was wide open at the 23-yard line.
They like to throw to Dean, and he does a good job as a receiver. Brad Quass that time was really directly behind him, made the tackle as soon as he caught it, but they did make the reception.
Pretty good target, 6'4" and 245 pounds, and he's a 3-letterman senior. Third down and 4 at the Iowa 23, between the 23 and the 24. The rollout, Hanks catching up, not quite in time. Merton Hanks really making a sprint from the right side from his right corner position. Just about got to the quarterback, but it's an incomplete forward pass. Field goal attempt. It'll be a 41-yarder. Hansen holding, and the kicker is Porter. Mark Porter, his first field goal attempt of the season. And it's good. Porter connects from 41 yards, and it's a 21-10 game. Hawkeyes keeping them out of the end zone, but K-State gets its second score. Kansas State unable to get a touchdown in the end zone, but Porter kicks a 42-yard field goal, and with 9:37 to go in the second quarter, it's Iowa 21, Kansas State 10. Kickoff coming up. Porter to boot. Tony Stewart is in to receive, and with the wind, he sends Tony back just inside the 5-yard line. Near side, looking for an opening, trying to cut outside, and he is dropped at the 25-yard line. Alan Amos, the number 2 inside linebacker, behind David Wallace of Bettendorf, making the tackle as Tony comes off the field. It'll be Bass and Harmon. Harmon, of course, at tailback, and Bass for David Hudson at fullback. Kansas State making a game of it. They've had few scoring opportunities. They've cashed in on a pair. Here's Harmon leaping at left tackle past the 30, pounds to the 33-yard line.
To the 37-yard line.
And in at tight end flag, it was Wallace, again making the tackle. Those two Iowans, Wallace at inside linebacker and Garver at right guard, playing well. Second and 3 for the Hawkeyes. Play right up the middle of Bass, spins away. Bass got the first down and more, a lot more.
Boy, he sure did, Gene. He knocks the Iowa players over as well as the Kansas State players. He gets to the opening, and then it's just all Richard Bass, who just keeps turning and squirming and picks up a first down plus additional yardage.
Nice initial block too by the center, Bill Anderson, to help pave the way as David Hudson returns for the Hawkeyes. First and 10, Iowa at the Hawkeye 45-yard line. Again, the score 21-10. Hawkeyes lining up. High backs. Hudson up the middle, short yardage. Tough to get off his feet. Matt Wallerstedt, the inside linebacker on the right side, and Dwayne Bazell of Galveston. Ball will be marked down just shy of midfield. We have a second and call it 7 for the Hawkeyes. Playing on a very warm, sunny day. Window coming right at the Hawkeyes at the moment. 20-mile-an-hour breeze from the south. Pass. Travis Watkins can't quite reach it. He made a little turn toward the sidelines. The ball was there, but just beyond his grasp.
Hartlib that time did a good job of faking to the right side to Harberts and then threw to the left to Watkins and just overthrew him slightly, Gene.
So the ball comes back to the Iowa 49. We have a third down coming up. One of the few third down situations for the Hawkeyes. We have Harmon now carry 9 times for 66 yards. Hudson with 6 for 29. Watkins made the turn in, and the ball was there, and it's a first down Iowa on the 43-yard line of Kansas State. Lamb at the left corner covering.
Smart move by Watkins that time. He just got to the first down yardage, took another step or two to make sure he had the first down when he received the ball. The ball was thrown low to the outside, right where it should be, on an outside pattern. And Travis Watkins, you'll see, just does an excellent job of getting the first down here.
Went down low to scoop that one in. Came into the ball game with 4 receptions for the year. Harmon plugged up. Kevin trying to reverse and find daylight somewhere, but it just wasn't there.
Stop by.
Well, there's your basic Iowa sunglasses.
Matt Wallerstedt.
Wallerstedt making the stop. The yardage, 107 to 43, passing yardage, that is. Hawkeyes have dominated, but you couldn't tell it that much from the scoreboard right now. 21-10 midway, second quarter. Hartley making a medium drop. Passes underneath the coverage. And Goodman gets the first down on the 31-yard line. That is Goodman's second reception of the year.
That's good for.
Well, it's really a well-designed play. They had the coverage, they had the receivers going deep, and the coverage went deep. They just threw underneath right here to Grant Goodman. Catches the ball, then turns upfield, knows where he has to go to get a first down again. Cuts back here and then doesn't get the first down.
You have to admire players like Grant Goodman, Marshall Cotton, have to play behind the regulars, and
The University of
21-10 the Hawks. We'll be back with more in just a moment. We move to further action now in the second quarter. Gary Swim returns at quarterback. Transfer from Snow Junior College in Utah. And it goes to Jordan. Tailback up the middle for just about nothing. Myron Kepi coming up from the bottom of the stack. Kind of strange to think that at one time they numbered backs 77. Nothing on that play. 2nd and 7. Swim now fires. Incomplete. Way over the head of Eric Blades. Blades was open, but he overshot him. Don't know whether the wind helped pick that one up or not. Flag down at the line of scrimmage. Haid in to make the tackle. Hawkeyes taking the penalty rather than the down, and on the draw play, Dave Haid right in there and dropped the ball carrier at the 4-yard line. The All-American candidate at nose guard, Dave Haid. And now it's 3rd and a bundle, about 21. 3:13 remaining, first half. If the Hawks can force the punt here, they'll have it in good field position for the remaining moments of the second quarter. Iowa leading K-State 21-10. Quarterback into the end zone, passes across the middle, and it's complete to the 15. The receiver, Kent Dean and Dan Worth. One of the linebackers making the stop and forcing the punt coming up. Scrimmage to 15. It'll be 4th and 12. Kansas State forced into a punt situation, and at the goal line, Porter gets the snap, and sort of an end-over-end kick is away. And a flag is down at the 5-yard line. Could have been a roughing the kicker. We didn't notice it. We'll check it in a moment. Flag at the 5-yard line with 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go.
Well, you'll see several Iowa players around the ball right here. And they did fall into the, J.J. Puck did fall into the punter there. It's obvious, and penalty against the Hawkeyes.
Well, J.J. was off balance. It was not an intentional run into the punter. You could see where he tried to sidestep him, got a little bit off balance. Tom Paholski, the new Iowa quarterback, is firing on the first play, and it is intercepted at the 26-yard line by Harper. Peter Marciano foul because after the penalty against the Hawkeyes for roughing the kicker, Kansas State decided to take the play rather than the penalty, and a chance for Marciano to run it back. Paholski's first throw, a little bit underthrown, I guess, Mike.
Well, slightly underthrown. Well played. Fairly well covered, too. Quinn Early was, but good interception by Kansas State.
Hawkeyes have been intercepted twice now. Their first interceptions of the season. Kansas State from the 26-yard line. Pretty good rush, and there's almost an interception by Dave Haid. Haid almost headed for the Hawkeyes on the 30-yard line. Intended for Jordan. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remain. Second quarter. Iowa leads 21-10. Down early 3-0. Then got up 21-7, and Porter kicked one through from 42 yards. 9 of 17 for Gary Swim. Throwing one interception, netted 54 yards. I think he's handled his team very well, Mike.
Very good job at quarterback.
This time it's Jordan trying to get to the outside that time, and Merton Hanks of Dallas playing the right quarterback position for the Hawkeyes, and a good hard tackle.
You don't want to arm tackle this guy. Jordan, he can run. He's a good size back, but he really knows how to put moves on you. He also knows how to run over you, so you got to make a sure tackle on him.
6'3", 220. He can scoot. Initially, they used him as a kick returner, both kickoffs, punts, a receiver, and a running back. Now mainly a running back and to some extent a receiver. 3rd and short. Don't think he made it. Jim Johnson of Forest City replaced Joe Schuster a short time ago at defensive right tackle. Made the stop.
About a yard shy, I believe, Gene.
4th down coming up. Hawks calling a timeout at a minute 22. Kansas State unable to get the first down after the interception, and they have Kruger now in at punt formation. Very high kick. Marciano falls for the fair catch at the 29-yard line. His first fair catch of the season. And of last season. That's number 1 for Peter in his Iowa career. Paholski back in at quarterback. We're down to a minute 16 of the ball game, and the ball on the Iowa 29-yard line. Paholski making his drop. Pass it, intercepted again, picked off at the 40-yard line, and a return to the Iowa 32. It was Bazile. Dwayne Bazile. 2 interceptions in a row for Tom Paholski. Too bad a dejected Tom comes off the field as Iowa's defense goes in.
Well, Tom is looking to his left and then looks back towards the right as he gets ready to throw the ball. Threw into a coverage. See the ball come in. Good defensive play. Comes in front of Missouri. Makes the interception. Returns the ball. 1st and 10 for Kansas State.
Bazile could see that one coming, and no doubt about the interception. Turnovers, 4 for the Hawkeyes. Ball put up for grabs and received at the 20-yard line by Dean. Terry Burt making the reception, but this one was down the middle, the 20-yard line. So we're at a minute 2. Kansas State threatening here with the Hawks leading 21-10. And a quick count, and the ball just thrown into the ground with his back to the play was the intended receiver, Tony Jordan. Smart move that time by Gary Swim, because you're not going to get that one called against you with a receiver in the near vicinity.
I thought maybe Jeannie tried to throw it towards the sideline, though, and try to make a reception out of it. He just threw it right to the ground. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Well, let's stop the clock right now with 56 seconds to go. At the 20-yard line, Kansas State, 2nd and 10. Dropped by Snow, and the pitch in the end zone, intercepted by Hanks. Hanks made one step to get out of the end zone and then downed it. Hanks making the interception. That's the end of the first half with the score here in Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes 21, Kansas State 10. And we'll be back with more after this on the Hawkeye Sports Network. With Mike Feely going into the second half here in Kinnick Stadium on this warm, sunny, and windy football afternoon. Iowa leading Kansas State 21-10. Porter will be kicking off for K-State. Tony Stewart and Quinn Early are back, and it's Stewart under it at the goal line. Oh, the ball popped loose after the hit. And I think K-State has it. Stewart making the return, sort of hesitated as he went into that pile up at the 20-yard line. And so Kansas State making a game of it. Interesting thing about the stats, again, the time of possession, fairly even.
So you see Stewart get the ball at the goal line, and when he fumbles this ball, it just is a result of him trying to get an extra effort here. Gets hit, and then he tries to keep going and gets hit a second time. They cause the fumble.
He got belted hard in the first play into the line by K-State, and it stacked up right at the line of scrimmage as Dave Haight hit Lewis. Upended him. And the ball is marked right at the 20. The telecast of today's game is authorized by the University of Iowa and is intended solely for the private use of our viewing audience. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the accounts or descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the University of Iowa is strictly prohibited. Little lob right over the line to Jordan, and it's complete. Flag down on the play. Terry Burt. Strong safety coming over to make the stop just inside the 10-yard line and limping a little bit as he goes back to the huddle, Tony Jordan.
Well, that's a play that they had a little bit of success with in the first half. They just flare Jordan out in the flat, let the quarterback approach the line of scrimmage. As he's approaching, he reads it, and if Jordan's open, he just flips it to him. He catches the ball, turns upfield. Fortunately, there's a penalty against Kansas State, holding penalty.
Stan Parrish was perturbed last week, Mike, when Kansas State picked up some 14 infractions in the Army game. 4 of 13. Tony Jordan, 1 touchdown. A receiver and a runner. Could play anywhere. Ball moved back to the 30-yard line. Break there for the Hawkeyes. Holding penalty, putting the ball to the 30-yard line. Just into the third quarter of the second half of the Hawkeyes' 21-10 edge. Again, the handoff to the running back, Jordan. Running off that deep eye, and he's racked up by Schuster. And Myron Kepi. Couple of yards. Melvin Foster also in on the stop, and it's a 3rd and 18 at the 28-yard line. Henry in the lineup. They take Blades out. Now Henry leaves the ball game, in for just 1 play.
Well, they're in a position where they've got to try to get down for good field goal position. I'll be surprised if they don't throw the ball here.
3rd and long. The rollout. Again, that pass right over the line, complete to Cowings, one of the wide receivers, Todd Cowings of Fresno, California. Greg Brown, the left corner. A busy defensive back again.
Well, they're just flooding the right side of of their offense, our defensive left side. Ball's well thrown on the sideline pattern to the receiver, catches the ball. See Greg Brown come up and make the tackle.
And it's a 4th down situation, and they bring in Porter to try the field goal from the 24-yard line. The 34-yard attempt. Kicked his first of the season earlier. It has the distance, and it's good. So Porter gets his 2nd of the game and his 2nd of the season. And the Iowa edges down to 21-13 with 12:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. We'll be back with a kickoff in just a moment. We move now to further action in this, the 3rd quarter. They're going to go for 4th down at the Iowa 45-yard line. Big key play here with the man in motion. And a leaping dive by Jordan for the 1st down. He went airborne over the right side of his line and got the 1st down to the 42.
So this looks kind of like Kevin Harmon in action. They do give the ball deep to Jordan. Takes a good leap over the Iowa defensive line, gets the 1st down, protects the ball, makes sure he doesn't fumble. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
So the ball is at the Iowa 42-yard line.
Jordan's shaking up on the sideline a little bit.
And they have Maurice Henry in to replace him from Salina. Fastback runs the 40 and 4.6. 6'1", 220-pounder. Trying to go wide. They hem him in, and it's a loss. A slight loss on the play. They knock him out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. Good reaction by Joe Schuster, J.J. Putt, and Merton Hanks. Cowings replacing Blades at wide receiver. Henry departs after that 1 play, and Jordan returns. And they mark it at the 41, where it is 2nd. And a long 9 with 6:48 to go, 3rd quarter. Pass complete at the 30-yard line to Dean, and he stopped in his tracks, but it's another 1st down. Melvin Foster dropping back to make the tackle.
On the 30-yard line.
You see, their favorites, Dean and Jordan are obviously their favorite receivers. That time, rather than turning the inside, Dean turns the outside, and there's 3 or 4 Hawks to put him on the ground. I think they did pick up the 1st down there, Gene.
Credit K-State's offensive line. They are giving Swim an opportunity to at least throw short. He is getting the passes away. And that's about all they can do. Oh, there's a loose ball picked up for the Hawkeyes. Hit by Joe Schuster. Schuster coming from behind, hitting Swim, popping the ball loose. And again, the Hawkeye defense forcing the turnover. Joe Mott making the recovery.
Well, you'll see a great hit by Joe Schuster here. Quarterback takes just a little bit too long to set up and throw the ball. Looks wide open there, but here comes Joe. Boom. It's a good hit on right in the hands of Joe Mott. Covers the ball, protects it well, and keeps the ball in Iowa's possession. Here you see a different angle on it. Joe just put his helmet right in the middle of the quarterback's back, and it's almost impossible to hold on to the ball when you get hit like.
We'll be back with more third quarter action after this on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Dan McGuire at quarterback for the Hawkeyes. Let's see if we can get something moving. The pass complete to the tight end, Marv Cook. Just a short drop, and he fired that one right over the line of scrimmage. But it's a 5-yard advance. David Wallace, inside linebacker from Bettendorf, Iowa, made the stop at the 40-yard line, Mike.
It was a nice job by Marv Cook to hold on to the football that time, because he got sandwiched in between two defensive players just as he caught the ball.
2nd and 4 for the Hawkeyes on their own 40-yard line. Little switch for the two running backs. McGuire pumps. Right over the line to Kevin. Watch out. He's at midfield. Shoots left, goes right. And it's kicked down to the 38-yard line of K-State. Nice fake that time by McGuire. And all alone out there, number 28.
Well, you see Dan drop back. He sets up. He wants to throw to the right side. Gives you a fake right there. Then he sees the pursuit coming. He has to spin around, go to his left. And Kevin's standing there waving his arms, saying, I'm open. He hits Kevin, and then it's all Harmon from there.
So the Hawkeyes are in K-State territory at the Wildcats 38. 1st and 10 as the Hawks break huddle. Bill Anderson up with the ball. 2 setbacks and 2 wideouts. Basic formation. He gets the rush. The pass away, and it is caught, intercepted, and dropped by the receiver, and regained at the 48-yard line. Bazile, who's played a whale of a game at the outside linebacker position, and the ball is back to Kansas State.
Well, that's the kind of play that Dan will learn from. He floated the ball just a little bit too much. He knows he's getting pressure. Once he sets up, you'll see him react. He tries to make something out of it. Chose to throw the ball, just floated a little bit too high over the receiver's head into the defender's hand, and good play by Harmon there to knock the ball loose.
So the Hawkeyes, after starting to get something moving, committing another error, and Kansas State with the ball at the Iowa 47-yard line. 4 K-State turnovers and 6 by the Hawkeyes. There's nothing for Jordan trying to go wide right. Foss coming up, along with Kerry Burt, Sean Ridley. Good pursuit. K-State unable to do much of anything on the ground. Swim, though, has had an opportunity to throw the short and the medium pass. 2nd and 10. 4:40 to go. The Hawkeyes have not scored in the second half. Touchdowns, a pair by Hudson and one by Kevin Harmon, counting for the Iowa scoring. Oh, the fullback Lewis, Dave Haight, got to cross the line to say, hey, you're not going to make it to the line of scrimmage. And he didn't.
Well, you'll see Dave Haight and Joe Schuster just eat him up right here. Boom, he runs into both of them. Great play by the Iowa defense again in the middle. You see the leg drive by Dave Haight. Once he makes the hit, he just drives him straight back.
Hawkeye quarterbacks have been intercepted 5 times. They had none in the first 3 games. Law of averages, I guess, catches up sooner or later. 3rd and 10, K-State. And they hit him behind the line. Stopped by Thomas and by Schuster. Steve Thomas alternates between that nose guard and left tackle, and he was there to stop Gary Swim at the 43 of Kansas State.
Great pursuit by the Iowa defense. You see Steve Thomas first, and then it's Joe Schuster just eats him up and throws the quarterback for a loss.
Couple of exterminators there for the Hawkeyes. Punt formation. And the kick away. High kick sending Marciano back. Peter takes it at the 11.
We got the wall.
What's the situation over? This left. He is exciting. Dropped at the 27-yard line. Peter Abbott gets it up to the 27 for the Hawkeyes.
And we were one block away from there. Hayden talked earlier in the week about starting to work on the return, and it was the wall was perfectly set up there. We were one block away from breaking him on the wall and for a touchdown.
We'll return after this message from the University of Iowa. There's the ball dropped, picked up by Hudson, and Hudson scoops it up and goes to the 47-yard line, where Bazile makes the tackle. And ever alert, David Hudson.
Well, that looked like a design play that time, Gene.
Bazile and Therese Hurds.
Bad snap between the quarterback and center, and David alertly just picks the ball up and makes something out of a play that should have been a loss.
So the Hawkeyes pick up about 7 on the play, and it's second down coming up just shy of midfield at the Iowa 47. 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 21-13 your score. The Hawkeyes with the edge, but not a comfortable lead. It's early in Watkins. The pass again too early, same side of the field, and it's good enough for a first down. Lambert, the right cornerback, being targeted with these passes of late, and everything's going to his side of the field.
In every one of these receivers, when they're catching the ball, Kansas State defensive backs are making a real effort to put a hard hit on them. And that time when Quinn Early caught the ball near the sideline, it was a very, very good hit by the defensive back.
2 receptions by Quinn for 25 yards, coming into the ball game with a total of 17. He's Iowa's leading pass receiver. This is a fake left. He wants to go deep. Quinn Early knocked out of his hands at the last moment of the flag down. Early that time, Hurds was on him. They're going to call interference. The ball was there at the 10-yard line. Both players went up for the ball, and I'm guessing 2 flags are down, that it was defensive pass interference. We'll wait and see.
Well, Dan throws the ball right where it has to be thrown, takes it to the right first, lets Early get open on the left side, throws it deep, and you'll see as he goes up for the ball, the arms are grabbed by the defensive back. Penalty flag thrown right away.
He grabbed him, Therese Hurds, just a little bit too quickly.
I don't think he thinks so, Gene, but the official did. That's the main thing.
Well, I'll tell you, Hurds staying right with Quinn. He's a 4-5 runner, so they were stride for stride. And remember, McGuire is throwing into the wind. 7 for 53 against Kansas State. It's a first down on the K-State 33-yard line. Fake pitch out by Dan, and the handoff to Hudson. He stopped at the 27-yard line. Taking the pitch out deep, and Hudson coming up with the ball, going behind right tackle. Herb Wester. Take Wester, Mike, and put a wool shirt on him and give him a long-handled axe, and you've got an instant Paul Bunyan.
You got a big tree is what you got. He's a big man.
Iowa with a 2nd and 5 on the K-State 27-yard line. Counting down to 1:11 in the third quarter. Long count that time by McGuire. He's going too early. Knocked down in the end zone. Intercepted. Easterwood making the intercept in the end zone. The Hawkeyes going for the down, and another interception.
Gene, this is a very, very difficult pass to throw, especially for a young quarterback. He threw that ball a long ways, just floated a little bit too much, and gave the defensive back time to come over and intercept it in front of Quinn Early.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score Iowa 21, Kansas State 13. And we'll be back with more on the Hawkeye Sports Network after these local messages. Delay of game costing another 5 yards by K-State, and they now have the ball at the 4-yard line. 3rd and 11. Quick kick. And it is taken and lost and picked up by K-State.
Picked up again by Iowa, I believe, Gene.
Kerry Bird had it, lost it, and a K-State player was on the ball, but apparently it squirted free again. Let's wait and see. Quick kick. And the ball is at the 29-yard line.
It's a trick play on their part. The quarterback pitches the ball back. He quick kicks the ball very alertly. Kerry Burke sees it coming. He was back to defend against the pass, and fumbles the ball, but then he very alertly, after the ball is handled by a K-State player, you see right there, then Kerry Burt will fall on it again. The ball comes loose right there, and Kerry's there to get it.
Yeah, like the old watermelon seed play. That quick kick was by Carl Straw. Their number 3 quarterback. The Hawks in good field position inside the 30-yard line. Let's see if McGuire can move them. Here's Harmon in the secondary. Cuts to the outside. Can't break a tackle. Put down at the 20-yard line. Harmon, once he gets some daylight in the secondary, look out.
Nobody even touches him here. There's a good-sized hole. You see right there, and he cuts back to the right. Nobody touches him until he gets 10 yards downfield. And that's a sign of good team effort, a good blocking up front, and good running on the tailback's part.
Got tripped up, and Eastwood finished him off at the 18-yard line where it's 1st and 10 Hawks. 11 minutes to go. We're in the 4th quarter. It's Iowa 21, Kansas State 13. Kevin has gone over the 100-yard mark. He has 102 and counting. Harmon again, right tackle, about 3 or 4. Wallace, Ohm, Wallerstedt, McDonald, Derek Harberts, walk-on from Walden, Iowa, getting into the ball game at wide receiver, giving Quinn a rest. Also going into the ball game is Travis Watkins and Craig Clark. And now Quinn Hurley. At the 14, second down coming up. A long 5, the Hawkeyes trying to get their first score of this half. Short drop. Near side it goes to Quinn. He breaks the tackle. Another one. He's in for the score. Quinn Hurley. 2 players down, wondering what happened. Harper and Easterwood. I'm sure they're each saying, hey, I had him.
Well, they thought they did have him, but just see a great move. He gets wide open here. Defensive back's laying back a little bit. Now, you see the move right here. The head fake. Shakes off with the leg. Then he just jumps over this guy. Looks like the triple jumper he is in track there, Gene.
Well, he's the long jump champion. Got the title a couple of years ago, was 3rd last year, and Quinn says once football competition is over, he'll go after that title again. Outlet's kick is good. So the Hawkeyes are in the lead, 28-13, and we'll be back with more Hawkeye football after this. We move now to further action in the 4th quarter. Quick count and rather a short kick. Peters takes it right at midfield. Cuts to the outside. He's at the 45, the 40. Spins away at the 35. Dropped at the 33-yard line. Marciano. Well, Peter, he hasn't got much of an opportunity because they've been kicking short and high to him.
Well, that one was low. You see it on the replay here. He does a good job. Gets outside of the wall. Nice block. You see in the screen there. He's pointing which way he wants to go. Just tripped him up slightly, but even after he was tripped up, he got an additional 5 yards.
Quick feet. Big Ten's top punt returner of the year ago. McGuire stays in at quarterback for the Hawkeyes. Pass, Watkins, near side, they spinning down. Lambert. Could be a first down. Hawkeyes having to go without Morrow, their leading receiver of the year ago, but Early, Mazzeri, Watkins, Harberts, and the tight ends Cook, Flagg, and Clark. 8 of 14 for 103 yards, 2 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. The stats on the big redhead, Dan McGuire. Next week, it'll be the Big Ten opener here in Kinnick Stadium. Iowa hosting Michigan State, and you'll see all the action right here on your Hawkeye Sports Network station. Robert Easterwood, the free safety for K-State, injured on that last play, taken off the field. And Stan Parrish, the K-State coach earlier, wanted to talk with Gil Marshman, the referee, and you couldn't hear what he said, but you could tell he was unhappy about something. Marciano in as a wide receiver now for the Hawkeyes. 1st and 10 Hawks at the 23-yard line. Dan McGuire, the quarterback. Harmon being harassed behind the line of scrimmage, and no Coast Guard Jim Ohm stops him for a loss of about 4. Possibility with 8:20 to go that we'll see Tony Stewart, who's been in at the kick returner position on kickoffs. But Harmon has been in there at the RB position. 2nd and 5. McGuire, they loaded up. Pass a little bit overthrown on the near side. Peter Marciano, the intended receiver. Clock stopped, just under 8 minutes to go. Kevin, 101 yards, 19 rushes, 178 officially. Hawkeye coaches, after viewing the film, said he had 181.
That new wide receiver is being Steve Green.
3rd and about 6 for the Hawkeyes with McGuire. Having time, fires, complete. Down to the 11-yard line. And that was complete to Steve Green, who just got in there. And it was Lambert making the tackle for K-State.
Dan does a good job of looking right here, making the defense think he's going to throw it that way, reach back across the field, and hits an open Steve Green for a nice reception, first down. Star ball on the 11-yard line.
Green, a wide receiver, and a senior from Bettendorf, getting his first reception of the year. We're midway in the final quarter. The Hawkeyes threatening again. 1st and 10 at the Kansas State 11-yard line. 2 stand-up tight ends in this formation. Goes to pass, and he is neck-tied. He breaks the tackle, cuts to the outside. He has a stiff arm. They finally rack him up at the 9-yard line. Pass. They had him dead to rights behind the line of scrimmage. Miller finally making the tackle along with Harper. You talk about individual effort. That was a tough 3 yards.
Well, I think everybody thought he was down behind the line of scrimmage, Dean, but he just does a great job. He's got 6 rushes for 23 yards so far. A great job of just individual effort, getting back to the line of scrimmage and then actually picking up 2 yards.
And those are 23 tough yards. Richard carries under some pretty trying circumstances. Here's Green deep to the near side of the field. Now down to 1 stand-up tight end. And it's through the middle. Harmon just shy of the goal line. They shot Harmon right up the middle. And it's about a yard shy of another 6.
They haven't had much success all day in terms of stopping Kevin on that play. I said earlier, he gets about 7 or 8 yards downfield before they even touch him, and he did the same thing here. Fans are doing the waves, Gene.
Yeah, I thought they'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, they're getting fired up here. They're
bringing in the sticks to see if that's a 1st and goal. Harmon scored from the 1, Iowa's 2nd touchdown. The other 2 TDs by Hudson from the 5 and David from the 1. Short by just a couple of 3 inches. 6:38 to go, 4th quarter. Hudson going in along with Marv Cook. Harmon, Hudson, and Bass will be in the power I. Question is, who will get it and where will he go airborne? From about the 1-yard line. McGuire, nothing there. Maybe a loss of about a half a yard as Lambert, Ratcliffe from the secondary shut him down. I think it was Bass, or was it Hudson? Pretty difficult to tell from here. But that was a loss of maybe a half a yard to a yard with 4th down coming up. Hartley going in now, quarterback, along with Outland. Fake field goal.
Oh, I wouldn't second guess Hayden here, I guess, but I think he wants Rob to get 3 points for him right here.
20-yard field goal. The snap. Hartley's kick. He could do that one with his eyes closed. The Hawks get another 3. It is 31-13. Iowa in the lead with 5:43 to go. Murphy will be kicking off for the Hawkeyes, who now lead 31-13. Next Saturday, over the Hawkeye Sports Network, the Hawkeyes hosting Michigan State in the Big Ten opener. It's been a great series in the last half dozen years or so between the Spartans and the Hawkeyes. And Hayden Fry will be commenting on this game, and we'll have that for you right after the action here in Kinnick. That's Hayden Fry, post-game comments on the Hawkeye Sports Network after the game, the kickoff. High coming up to pick it up Austin at about the 2-yard line. Hard hit at the 20-yard line, and the Wildcats will take over at about the 23. It was Craig Clark on the kickoff team and Mark Stoops.
And they really hit him, Gene. Surprised you could hold on to the ball there.
20-yard field goal by Houtland. The scoring drive covered 8 plays, 32 yards. 31-13 your score. With 5.5 minutes remaining. Gary Swim has been in there the entire game for K-State. They have Pickett now in at fullback in place of Lewis. And Henry, the tailback, and he is hit hard trying the middle. Maurice Henry from Salina. Sophomore Letterman with 4.6 speed, and Paul Glonick is in at right tackle for the Hawkeyes. The transfer from Notre Dame, 6'5" and 280. Playing behind Joe Schuster and Jim Johnson.
Gary Swain's stats on the board there. You see 14 for 29, 97 yards, and 2 interceptions.
And Tolbert, a wide out, along with Henry. Swim, short set. And he overthrows his intended receiver, Kent Dean, the tight end. Good coverage by Merton Hanks. Iowa's defense played solid football right from the start of the season. Offense has sputtered a bit because of those interceptions. I guess you could call it also a learning experience in this one, Mike.
Well, you really will. Hayden can look at this film and say, we got a lot of work to do, which I'm sure he felt before the game, but now it's obvious to him that all 3 quarterbacks need to do some work as far as the reads and the pass patterns, and they just got to eliminate those mistakes.
3rd and 9. Shot over the middle. Dean complete, but just shy of the first down. I would think they punt away, but we'll wait and see. Dean, the tight end, has become the main target now for Gary Swim. They're going to go for it. Now they're going to go for the short yardage situation on 4th down at the 33-yard line. And did he or didn't he? It'll be close. Jordan flying in the middle. It looks like he may have made it from here, but we'll wait till they unstack, and Gil Marshman will look over the situation, and I don't even think they're going to measure. He got the first down.
You got to give Stan Parrish credit there. They're down at their own end of the field. They're behind. A lot of coaches would have punted there, but he felt it was probably important for his team to try to get a first down against a good defensive unit with the Hawkeyes, and it worked for him, and that's going to help his team later on the season.
Torrey Cook of Corydon is in at free safety for the Hawkeyes. A fumble, and who has it? Still a loose ball. Hawkeyes, it's Sean Ridley. They're going to call the ball dead. Sean wanted to get 6. Well, as we indicated earlier, the Iowa defense has completely dominated this K-State team, especially this half. We have 4 minutes remaining, and we have the football.
We sure have. You see him get the ball from the quarterback. Wasn't a very good handoff, and that was the problem. The quarterback was a little too far away from the running back. The ball bobbles around. Different people try to get it. You see Sean Ridley come in and get it eventually, but that's just a good hit and good way to get the football back in great field position.
And we'll be back with more 4th quarter action after these local messages on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Dan McGuire will be quarterbacking. I think Dan has done a good job. Chuck Hartley quarterbacked most of the first half. 4 minutes to go, approximately 31-13. The Hawks would like to get another one on the board. The roll out by McGuire, the double pump. Just over the line it goes to Cook. just inside the 20-yard line. Good presence of mind that time by McGuire. Obviously wanted to go deeper, but the coverage was there, so he went to the tight end.
Well, when you get that much time and that much protection, Dan McGuire has a choice to go long here, chooses not to because the receivers are covered. And then he's alert, and you've got a tremendous receiver, Marv Cook, and all the tight ends are great receivers. You see him get the ball, make a good gain for the first down.
And Goodman did a good job of protecting. Here's scooting into the line. Here's Goodman. He's inside the 10-yard line. Well, Goodman deserved to carry the ball. He did a great blocking job in protecting the passer on the previous play, and he's inside the 10. Not quite a first down as Wallerstep got the tackle for K-State. 3 minutes, 22 seconds remaining. Credit Kansas State, Mike, for making a good game of it.
Well, they really have, and it was supposed to be a blowout, but they've hung in there very tight, and the Hawks have been very solid on defense, made some mistakes on offense, but overall the Hawks are looking pretty good.
Third and 1 for the Hawkeyes. Inside the 10, let's call it about the 70-yard line. 3 minutes and 22 seconds remaining here in Kinnick Stadium. A very warm football afternoon. McGuire, the quarterback, looking deep. Pass incomplete. Touchdown, Marciano. What a catch deep in the end zone. The little guy looked like he went about 10 feet in the air to pick that one off, Mike.
He did a great job of jumping. The time you jumped just perfectly. Dan McGuire, again, has an awful lot of time here. See Houghton getting ready to make the kick after, point after.
Is in to try the point after a great catch for the touchdown by Marciano. It's through the upright, and the Hawkeyes with 3 minutes and 12 seconds lead Kansas State 38-13.
Dan McGuire has plenty of time here, looking to his right, and goes back left. I don't know how he saw Peter back there, but he did. You see Peter time his jump perfectly, goes up, catches the ball right in the corner of the end zone, makes sure he gets his feet down in play. A tremendous touchdown by Peter Marciano.
That's the end of the game. The Iowa Hawkeyes over Kansas State 38-13. And we'll be back with more comments in just a moment. Iowa's Hawkeyes completely dominating Kansas State 38-13. They want it going away. No Hawkeyes hurt. How'd you feel about the quarterbacks, Mike?
Well, it's a bad day for him with 6 interceptions. That's not good, Gene, but it'll be corrected. A lot of good things happen in the offensive line and the running back position again today. The mistakes can be corrected, and we'll be ready for next week.
38-13 the score. Hayden Fry's comments upcoming in just a moment or two. On the Hawkeye Sports Network.